Right guys, welcome back to MotoGP 19 and today we are here for the return of career mode. Now, something has changed and I'm not quite sure how or why, but it has. Now if you guys watched the last episode about 2 weeks ago, we graduated from Moto 2 into the Premier class and we signed a contract with Suzuki. That's kind of changed. I've reloaded the game for the first time in about 2 weeks. Which isn't that long. I think there's been a patch or something in recent times. But I reloaded and I went into career mode. And straight away I got the possibility to renegotiate my contract. And the teams I was offered were different to the ones that I originally had. And the only MotoGP offer that I had was with Pramac. So we only have one offer for MotoGP. But it's not a bad one. It's a bloody good one. Suzuki have come in for us. So it's pretty simple. I want to go to MotoGP. I don't have any other offers, so we haven't got a choice. Let's sign for the blue team and let's get to work. I'm not sure what's happened. I'm not sure whether the patches reset something. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we've had to redo our contract re-signing at the end of the Moto 2 season, and instead of being given Suzuki this time, we've been given Pramac. So yeah, unexpected, but you know what? Screw it, you know, I'm not too fussed. Neither bike is my end goal in terms of what team I want to be at. I want to be at one of the top 3 teams. So yeah, we're just going to get on with it and see how we get on nonetheless. And a bit of a curveball, but one that I welcome, and should be quite fun nonetheless. Now, first of all, we are here at Malaysia and we have some winter testing to take care of. So we're going to jump into it and we're going to see what this is like. This is brand new to me. I've not done this before. It's brand new in this game, so it's going to be a new experience. So let's jump into it and let's do some testing and let's see what this feature has in store for us. Okay, so it seems like winter testing is a 120-minute session and we've got 3 packs to test. So there's kind of subtle differences to each one. In terms of the frame, they're all the same, and it's all to do with engine and slow fuel delivery to absolute performance. So we're going to try and find a balance to see which one works best for us. So let's start off with pack 1 and let's see how this feels. Oh, just kept on the track. First mistake on a MotoGP bike there. I think this test, there's no challenge I can see on screen. It's just about turning laps and seeing where you're comfortable. So in theory, this should be the slowest bike because it's got slow fuel deployment. So it's probably more efficient, but not as quick. So we're going to just try and see what our best lap is with this bike. We'll do a couple of laps and then we'll move on to pack 2 probably. Right, this was overall a pretty solid lap. So no mistakes in this one. Nice and tidy. You kind of followed Rossi all the way through. So we'll get a better understanding as to what this bike is. The power delivery is quite slow. Across the line into the 2-minute range. 2-minute point 3, 8/10 off the pace. We're now going to jump into pack 2 and see what the difference is with that one. That's going to be a much more of a balanced bike. That's probably going to be the one we go for. I think the other extreme is going to be too strong. So let's see what it's like and try out the next bike. I can straight away notice the power increase with this bike. Got to be careful with them wheelies. We're 6/10 up in the first sector alone. Just so much more power. Also hitting a lot higher top end speed at the straights, which is a big difference. I've got a couple of bikes behind, but this is when we start to come into our own through sector 2. With this bike, much better. A little bit of time drop there, a little mistake. That's going to cost me some time, but we'll keep going. Okay, I'll go for one more lap on this one again. I'll try and go for 2 runs on this different spec into the 159s. We go P1 on fastest. That's hot, very hot on the brakes there. Okay, so forget that. We're just going to abandon that run. And we'll go to the next pack. I want to try pack 3 just to get an understanding, and then I'll try and understand which one's the best one. But that one felt a lot quicker already. Pack 3's definitely got the most pace. On for a personal best here, and an even quicker lap. Very tidy, final corner again, up to the line. 59.3, we improve. So pack 3 is definitely the one. So yeah, overall, I don't have to do too many laps to notice the differences. So let's conclude the test and let's see what the next step is. But overall, this is the one you want. This is one with the most pace. Okay, so here we have the final times. You can see I did every single one of my best sectors on my final run on the 3rd pack, except for sector 3. I actually did my best sector 3 with pack 1, quite surprisingly. But other than that, you can see the time difference, much quicker at pack 3. So yeah, overall, decent, understanding of the bike. Now we're going to move into the first race into Qatar. So before we jump into Qatar, I thought I'd show a few things on screen. So for this season, we're going to have all the assists off as always. Electronics are unassisted instead of real. That makes no difference to the MotoGP bikes. It just depends on the classic bikes, which we're not going to use. But yeah, we've got rewind on in case any lag spike screen freezes, which I do tend to have quite a lot on all games. And any mistakes, of course, that I might make maybe in practice, because obviously it saves time. And yeah, gearbox off, ideal trajectory off, and physics simulation on Pro. In terms of difficulty though, we're going to have a we're going to do 35% race. So from now on to be around 7 to 8 lap races, possibly 9 like the Saxon Ring. I think that's long enough. We don't need to go much longer than that, because I don't think we're going to get much of a different race. I think it's quite similar. So we'll go for 8. I might raise it possibly to 50%. I'll see. But we're going to start things off with 35% races. We're going to go 120 max difficulty, and then clear weather on, and then tolerant. Pretty much. That's it really. I can't go random on the weather conditions. It's just a lock to clear. Tyre wear on, manual starts on, and yeah, overall that's going to be all the settings for this season. And we're now going to jump into the first race at Qatar. It's going to be 1 race per episode from now on, guys. In MotoGP, we're going to actually digest and enjoy each race as it comes. So yeah, let's jump into it and let's go to the first race at Qatar. Okay, so first practice session of the season, we're going to jump into the development test and do a couple of tests. We're going to do, as usual, distance analysis and quick lap simulation, because the race simulation is quite long, and I can kind of get an understanding anyway without having to use those tyres and that strategy. So let's jump into distance analysis first. Let's get to work and let's try and understand the bike around Qatar, which is one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. Okay, so quite interestingly, I'm currently 2 laps in, and I can't get below the time threshold, which is something that's surprising me. We're about 1.5 off Dovey's times. I'm in the mid 56s. I need to get below a 56.2. So yeah, we're struggling here. So not sure what to do. I'm gonna probably reset, get some fresh tyres on, and try again. But yeah, we're struggling to get beneath that threshold. I need to focus less on the racing line and more on my own pace. Okay, fresh tyres, much better lap this time. I think we should easily get below the threshold. Dare I say, even go quickest. Across the line, there we go. P1, that's more like it. Let's go for a second lap here and get it beneath the threshold, and then we'll complete the program. But that was a bit of a scare there. I'm not sure where the pace was in that first run, but we're better now. Oh, that's very wide. It's not ideal, but we are going to end the program and do pretty good. So that's decent. So finally we find our pace. That's more like it. Across the line, there we go. Maximum points. Good stuff. What a fantastic lap there on the qualifying sim test. Really, really good lap. Happy with that one. Bike felt fantastic on the double softs. Up to the line into the 53s quite easily. There we go, 53.8. Maximum points. Decent stuff. And just to confirm, we managed to get maximum points on both of these. So overall, a decent practice session. And I think based off of the live timing, if we have a little look, we're currently quickest. And I think we should easily get into Q2. I think we shouldn't be challenged, and therefore I think we've done a good job. So let's move to qualifying and let's see how we get on. Okay, so here we are then in Q2, and you can see there we're currently in 8th place. So we did manage to go straight through, and the time in FP1, even though I was P1 in first practice and I was quickest, later on over the weekend we got pushed down to 8th place eventually, and Jack Miller there in P6. Meanwhile, my teammate, or our teammate, Pekka Bagnaia, having to go through Q1 there, as you can see. So it's going to be an interesting session. Let's jump into it and let's see how we get on in our first qualifying in the Premier class. Very close there to Valentino. I had to kind of not fully commit to the turn in there, but it's not going to cost us too much time as we get underway on our first qualifying lap. I feel confident that I can get this one done. I think I can compete. I think the top 5 is possible, but let's see how the bike holds up. Maybe the AI do step it up a little bit in Q2, but so far quickest in sector 1. A bit wide there, but we'll push on. Right, end of lap 1 then. 4 tenths down, currently on Crutchlow after 3 sectors. Let's see what the final sector is like, and do we compete across the line? We do find a lot of time, about 0.3 of a second. I'll try and go for one more on these tyres. I reckon I've got a second lap on these. But good opener, P3 for now. Oh, big wobble there. Shame because I was on a good lap. I was 2.5 tenths up after 2 sectors. But we're just starting to wobble here and lose the rear tyre a little bit. Let's see if we can hold it together though. Right, then at the final corner the benchmark gets lowered by Spargo. I'm not sure which one of the 2 brothers it is, but down to a 53.5, up to the line. Do we improve? Yes, we do. 53.4, and Rossi just behind us down to a 53.3. So the benchmark's getting low all the time. We're going to pit in, strap on a fresh set of boots, and go for our final run. We went for 2 laps in that run. We'll do the same again on the next one, and see if we can try and find some more lap time. Okay, fresh rubber. Valentino setting the benchmark, 53.2. So we're going to have to find some more lap time. I think I can do it. I think the 52 is possible if you hook it up completely. Let's see if this Pramac has got what it takes to do that kind of lap. A little bit wide there. Not the best lap, pretty scruffy. First sector was good, but the rest of the lap kind of fell away. Not really any mistakes, just seemingly not much pace. I'm going to try again. We've still got 3 minutes left, so we've got time for 2 more laps. So let's try one more time and let's see if we can try and improve up to the line. What is this lap going to be? 53.6, not really good enough. But again, finding more time in that final sector. Definitely the strong point of the Pramac. Obviously the pit straight. Okay, this is a better lap. 3/10 down after 3 sectors, but I know I'll find time in this final sector, although that wasn't the best exit. It has to be said. I think we'll still improve though. Will it be enough? Up to the line. Not quite. P2, just a fraction off. Right, this is going to be the last roll of the dice then. Last lap. Just hoping the rear tyre can hang on for one more and not overheat. Let's try again. Checkered flag drops. It's a good lap so far. If we're going to hang it on, just hang on to it and keep it together. A bit too early on the turn in there, but luckily it doesn't affect us too badly. This is a better lap. A little bit too early again on the turn, a little bit scruffy. Rear tyre's overheating above 140, which is not what you want it to be. Ah, damn, I'm losing the rear tyre. That third lap's the killer. You can only seem to get 2 laps out of a set of soft tyres. And I've overdone it here. Yeah, too hot, forget it. That's it, done and dusted. Well, it's going to be our previous lap that counts, and we're P2, and I think it's going to stay that way. So you know what? No complaints, we'll take that. So here are the final results, and it's the Doctor on pole position, Valentino Rossi in the opener by literally 0.04 ahead of myself. Marc Marquez P3, Dovi P4, the top 4 so close, all within 1/10 of a second. And then Alicia Spargaro on the Aprilia, a fantastic P5, Alex Rins 6th, Jack Miller, my teammate, P7th, and then we've got Crutchlow, Petrucci in P9, Maverick Vinales, Taka Nakagami and Morbidelli rounding out the top 12. So there it is, there's your first qualifying of the season. We're now going to move into the race for round 1 for the Qatar GP. Let's jump into it. Here we are then, it's time for the race, the opener in Qatar. There is the Doctor, Valentino Rossi, P1, Marc Marquez, the dominant force in MotoGP P3, and those two are going to give us a hell of a time. Of course, let's not forget about Dovi as well in P4. Daniel Petrucci down at P9 on the other Ducati. I've got my eye on that seat. You know, I want to try and get to the Works team possibly, but for this one, tyres are going to be interesting. I think they could play a major part in this race. I'm going to go medium front, hard rear. I'm going to take a chance and go a little bit more aggressive on the front and see if it pays off. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's jump into the race and let's see how we get on. And let's try and have a decent opening race. I think the target for me is a podium. If we can get that, that'd be fantastic. So let's get into it. Here we go then. I've never done a start in MotoGP. 5 lights are on. Lights out and away we go. Look at that. Marquez off to a flyer. As is Rins from P6. We're going to go around the outside at turn 1. That's Morbidelli there sending one on the brakes from P12 on the grid. What a start for him on the Petronas satellite team. We're going to go on the outside here, trying to hang on to this. I've got to try and adapt to this harder rear tyre and medium front again. Good switchback line there, getting the momentum on Alex Rins. We're going to go straight underneath. The Spaniard there, a little bit wide, but we're going to just tuck it in for the apex as Marquez hits the front. So Marquez straight back to work here in the opener and getting down to business early on, getting a good start, getting a good hole shot off the line. Can we keep pace with him, or is he going to pull the pin? Let's find out. I think I've got some pace to give. Depends what tyres he's on also, but I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be an exciting way to jump into MotoGP and getting straight away stuck in with the multiple time world champion. Whoa! What? I was out of nowhere. Petrucci with an absolute send as we have a huge moment over the curbing. Petrucci starting P9. And I did briefly say I've got my eye on that seat, but what a start from him, and what a response after that poor qualifying, as we're all over the place here, just trying to adapt to the harder tyres. But lap 1 draws to a close, and we've dropped down to P3, which is not ideal, as Petrucci gets very wide at the final corner, as do I. Marquez already establishing a dominant gap out front. Let's start stretching our legs and see if we can try and re-overtake Petrucci in this race. And like I said, a podium would be a good result for me, so at the minute I'm happy where I am, so I've got no complaints, but let's see if we can try and pick up the pace a bit. Dobby's down in P10, poor start from him. Jack Miller P11 as well, so they both got off quite poorly. Lorenzo down in P21. Let's get to work here, let's try and find some pace. End of lap 2, and Petrucci has sent one up the inside of Marquez at the final corner, and they're going to be side by side doing a drag race down towards the first corner. Meanwhile, we've got a nice gap behind. We've kind of settled into P3 in this race quite nicely. I want to see if I can try and challenge the guys in front. I think I can do it as Petrucci does officially hit the front. So what a start from the Italian. Getting stuck in this race straight away. That was a fantastic sequence of corners there. Absolutely nailed my line, and we're starting to make some big progress as we get a bit wobbly on the exit there, but we're starting to make big progress now towards the front too. We're starting to feel confident on these tyres, and they're also starting to heat up as well and get perfect temperature, so we can start to compete. I'm liking this, I'm feeling confident. This Pramac can definitely compete, and I can definitely compete as well. Jan Zarco, P6 on the KTM, what a performance from him so far. As we cross the line, 54.1. Decent lap there. Not the quickest lap, but a decent lap nonetheless. Seems like the front two have actually cooled off on their pace a bit. Whether they're just holding back and they're going to try and pull the pin again later on, who knows. But we're about to be attached to this little 2-bike train and make it a 3-way fight. I will admit, maybe the hard tyre was the wrong move. It does feel like ice on the rear. I cannot touch the rear brake. Tyre wear is pretty consistent, so I probably could have got away with the rear, medium rear, to be honest. I think a medium rear soft front would have been the better option. But you never know, the race could still come to us later on, as the front two pick the pace up a little bit more again. And that bottom was good for me. But I still feel confident I can do the job and catch up to these guys. Marquez wide. I'm starting to make progress now, big progress. Starting to pick up the pace here because we're getting towards that crunch time in this race. We're running out of laps, 3 to go. 53.9, fast up of the race. Getting down to qualifying pace here. A bit hot into turn 1, but that's okay. But we're starting to really close in on the leaders now and make that progress. So let's try and put them under some pressure. Right then, 2 to go. It's close. The front 2 are really setting a good pace. That wasn't a good lap from me. I made a few mistakes. This lap has to be good. This one has to be up there as one of the best laps of the race. So let's concentrate. But I want to be making some moves this lap to give myself a chance going on to the last lap of the race. Oh, I'm struggling. Marquez is wide. I just can't get this last bit of the gap down. I always struggle with this at Qatar. Just can't seem to make that last bit of progress. Last lap of the race. All or nothing now. I've got to try a little bit more. Okay, all or nothing. Now I'm going to throw it into these. Hope for the best. I can feel the front just wanting to give way. I just can't get close enough. They've got an answer to everything that I throw at them in terms of pace. To be fair, Marcus hasn't even re-challenged. Like, Petrucci is just very strong. He's been absolutely incredible. Tyres are letting go. And I've messed that up a treat. I've got way too wide. So unfortunately for us, it's going to be P3. We could have had so much more in this race. I feel like I had the pace, but I couldn't quite bring it home. No one really near us. So it's going to be P3 in the opener. We'll take that. Petrucci wins in Qatar. And it's 15 points. Not bad at all. There we have the final race results then. Danilo Petrucci picks up the W in the opener in Qatar ahead of Marc Marquez. We come home P3 and pick up the fastest lap, only just snatching it from Danilo Petrucci there. And then we got Franco Morbidelli P4 from P12 on the grid. What a performance from him on the satellite Yamaha. Valentino Rossi, the pole man, only P5. Rins P6. Vinales P7, Zarco 8th, my teammate Jack Miller P9, Dovi only P10 in the Ducati, very surprising. And then we've got Nakagami, Joan Mir, Crutchlow, Rabat and Espargaro running out the top 15. And Espargaro, who's like P5, eventually going backwards in the race as expected. And then Bagnaia just missing out on the points. And then we've got Espargaro, Sirin, Oliveira, Iannone, Lorenzo, Quartararo and Abraham. Lorenzo and Quartararo, very surprising result for both of those guys. Way down in 21st and 22nd place. But yeah guys, that is it for the opener and this first episode of the MotoGP career mode. And it is back guys, season 3 is here and we're in the Premier class and we kick things off with a podium. Really good race, really good result. I enjoyed that and I've got no complaints. And we go again in the next race in Argentina. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 and MotoGP content. And turn on notifications to not miss any videos from me. And finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that guys, thank you for watching this episode of Career Mode. I'll see you in my next one very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.